Hello, my yogi friends. Welcome back to the channel. Or if you are new to the channel, thanks for joining me. This is Living Peace Yoga. I have another tutorial type practice for you today. As you can see, I am in a different location because here in southern Michigan today, it is a beautiful 60 degrees. The sun is shining, blue skies, which is in this time of year actually a rarity for us. It's usually dark and gray and rainy, and so I wanted to take this opportunity to share God's beauty with you today and doing this practice with you outside. So our tutorial today, a couple of classes ago, as you're aware, I did a practice on balance and how to gain that more efficiently in your practice. And now I want to go over breath work with you. And so we're going to talk for the first few minutes of this practice just about breath, what it means, when to breathe in yoga, when not to breathe in yoga. We never hold our breath. You're either inhaling or exhaling, of course, but I wanted to go a little deeper with you. So if you are able, please roll your mat outside, enjoy some of this beautiful sunshine. You will need a bolster or a blanket or a pillow of some sort for today's practice, and we will hop on in and do some yoga. So before we get started, friends, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you like today's content, be sure to hit that thumbs up button so that we can continue to bring flows and practices your way. So I first want to read, like I did with balance, what does the word breath mean? So the word breath means the air taken into or expelled from the lungs. An inhalation or exhalation of air from the lungs, so inhale or expelling air from the lungs, or a brief moment, the time required for one to act for respiration. I like that one. And then, of course, the breath of life is a thing that someone needs or depends on. Yes, we depend on our breath just as if we depend on God and our walk with Him. So secondly, I want to touch on, of course, a few verses that touch on breath and what they say about breath. So in Genesis 2:7, if you've been doing my videos, you will have heard me say that I love different translations of the Bible. This particular verse came out of the NLT translation. Then the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and then he became a living being. Beautiful, right? We know that story well. Another verse out of the NLT is Job 27:3, and I'm going to read a couple of different translations to you. As long as I live, while I have breath from God, my lips will speak no evil, and my tongue will speak no lies. So what is the difference between postures or movements in yoga? Oh, a bee came to visit. Or what does it mean for the breath? So the technical Sanskrit term for movement or postures practiced in yoga is asanas. So that is our movement. But the pranayama is the breath. which controls the techniques in yoga. And it is by our breath that we control our pace in yoga. So if you are looking to move through a power flow or a little heavier of a flow, of course your breath is going to be faster than if you're working through a slow flow. And if you're mixing the two, which is can happen often in yoga, then of course we're learning to control that breath throughout the practice, raising it or making it faster through the power flow. And then when we come back down, learning to control that breath and bringing it back to a tempo in which you're working. So there are 3 benefits to yoga in general, but I'm going to focus on the breath work that is done because of yoga. So there's physiological benefits, so meaning the physical things that happen inside our body because of yoga. So people who have asthma, my son being one of them, a benefit to him would be yoga and working through this breath work. Respiratory issues, high blood pressure, pain management, back pain, arthritis, weight reduction. Have you or someone you know suffered with any of those? I'm probably seeing all of the hands throughout YouTube right now being raised. There are psychological benefits. Number 2, there's a self-awareness that comes when you are working with the breath. And that is actually what takes us deep down into that place of stillness, because that is literally all we are working on, which we're going to do here in a moment. It can change our mood and our vitality. Friends, this is why I am on the yoga mat, is because of mood and vitality and the joy that it brings me. This is Sherman. We have a chocolate lab, and he was not going to not come out today. It was too beautiful. So I told him he could come out and be a part of yoga if he wanted to today. And then, of course, number 3, there are the spiritual benefits. You begin to recognize stillness, right? Coming to that place of inner being, inner stillness, the place before God, which brings you to peace eventually. That's why it takes practice. The journey becomes enjoyable when you can reach deep within and find that stillness. And we do that through our breath work. And then utmost and lastly, most important, we are connected to our Creator, who is vast, and we begin to believe we are who He says we are. That is one of His promises, that we will believe that. And so whatever it takes, friends, for you to find that, whether it be in your word or on the mat, in a gym, in a church, wherever you, in nature. My husband, actually, that was a good example that I just thought of. My husband finds God in nature. He's a hunter and fisherman, and he and my son both love to go out into the woods and out on the boat fishing, and that's where they find God. So everyone finds it differently. I find it here, still on the mat. Lastly, I want to read to you Job 27:3 again, but this is from the Message translation because I really liked how the Message translation translated it. God alive, He's denied me justice. God Almighty, He's ruined my life. But for as long as I draw breath, and for as long as God breathes life into me, I refuse to say one word that isn't true. I refuse to confess to any charges that are false. There is no way I'll ever agree to your accusations. I'll not deny my integrity, even if it costs me my life. I'm holding fast to the integrity and not loosening my grip. And believe me, I'll never regret it. but it started out with, but for as I draw breath. So friends, let's draw some breath in this yoga class. Our bolster or our blanket or pillow can just be placed to the side. We are going to need that for Shavasana, especially for me because I am on this hard wooden deck, but I wouldn't trade it for the world right now, as it is literally just so peaceful and beautiful today. So friends, come to a simple seated with me. That's right, rocking back onto those sits bones, drawing the head up, elongating the spine. We're going to knit those ribs in. We're going to bring our hands to heart center, and we're going to close our eyes. And the reason for closing our eyes is I want you to focus and concentrate on just your breath. So taking a nice inhale through the nostrils, and then exhale through the nostrils. Do you hear that? Do you feel that? Let's do it again. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale through the nostrils. Good. You're doing a great job. Just breathing. That's what I want you to do. So friends, coming to that breath, we're going to inhale and exhale. Inhale one more time. And exhale. Good. We're going to keep breathing. Good. Can you feel that slowing down of the inner being, of the inner stillness? Can you feel yourself coming to that awareness or focus or concentration of? I'd like to move through a few cat-cows because that is an important move for breath. But then we're going to move through 3 vinyasa flows because our breath is important there as well. So go ahead, move into all 4s. We're going to drop the belly down, tilting the head up, tilting up the hips as we inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to curl the spine so that the shoulder blades are towards the heavens, the tailbone is tucked under, and then see where our breath aligns with these movements. So inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. So while movement in yoga is important, breath is almost equally or more important in yoga. Good. Come back to neutral or come back to all 4s. We're going to curl those feet. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog. Because this is our first downward facing dog, go ahead and pedal out those feet just to create some space in those hamstrings. Good. We're going to look to the top of the mat. We're going to walk to the front or walk to the top. Good. And we're going to exhale as we forward fold it out. Good. Take a nice inhale. We're going to come up to the top. Good. Exhale, forward fold it out. Good. Inhale, we're going to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold it out. Good. We're going to extend those feet back to plank as we inhale. Good. Coming through our chaturanga push-up and up dog as we exhale. Take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, moving back to downward facing dog. Good. We're going to move through that flow 2 more times. I'm just going to tell you when to breathe because hopefully you've done enough of my videos now that you know our vinyasa flow. So go ahead and look to the top of the mat. Walk it on up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take it to the top. Exhale, forward fold it out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold it out. Good, extend those legs back to plank. Inhaling. Exhaling, coming out into upward dog. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale, back to downward facing dog. One more time, look to the top of the mat. Walk it on up. Forward fold it out. Take a big deep breath in up to the top. Exhale, forward fold it out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold it out. We're going to extend those feet to plank. Take a nice inhale. Exhale as we move into upward dog. Take an inhale and then exhale, downward facing dog. Good, bring those knees down, take them wide. And we're gonna bring our bum to the heels. Now we're holding a pose here, child's pose, but we're not holding the breath. This is the time that we're able to slow that back down. So we just moved through a flow, and now we can bring our breath back to a pace that's comfortable for us. And every person is different. So we utilize this poses like this, a forward fold, mountain, resting type poses to come back to the breath if you've lost it, because if we've gone through a flow and you've become winded or you've lost that breath, important to come back to the breath. So that's why breath is almost more important in yoga, what I'm finding, than the movements, because of not only when you do the breath, but when to increase and decrease the breath. Good. Come back to all fours. We're going to come on to our bums, back to simple seated. This is going to be a relatively shorter practice today, friends, because I really just wanted to go over breath work with you and when to inhale and when to exhale. And even though we are helpful as instructors on telling you when to breathe through a flow, and I will most certainly continue to do that, I also just like you to understand some of the beginnings of yoga. Yoga's 101s, I guess, call them. And so hopefully you found this practice helpful today. So go ahead and grab your bolster. I'm going to lay mine behind me. Bring it right up to my bum. We're going to lay back on the bolster. And then placing your feet in a neutral position, tucking the shoulders down and back. And then, yes, coming back to the breath. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Friends, Very slowly begin to move your body, finding life back in your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, come back to a seated position, hands at heart center, eyes closed, and yes, back to the breath. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's practice. It was absolutely lovely out here in this beautiful sunshine with you. Of course, I will be bringing more content your way right here in this spot where I can share with you the sunshine, the birds chirping, even a little bit of wind probably you heard. But I hope you have just as peaceful of a time off your mat as you did on your mat. Take this peacefulness with you, carry it with you throughout the rest of your day, and I will see you again on your mat again next time.